Hi. Alright, welcome to week 7. I feel naked. I have no green screen to hide the keyboard behind me. My kids' toys. They had a play date today. Everything got taken down, and I just didn't have time to put it back up today. So this is how we're rolling. I did have a couple of questions on Facebook that some people wanted answered. If in the interim, while I pull them up, you guys want to ask anything in the chat as well, please feel free. I'm going to take a moment and pull that up. And while I do so, please type your pretty heads off. Alright. Let's see what we have. Alright, there are a couple. Oh, dope. Okay, so, do you guys get to see Tim Miller often? Does he know all the artists and all the project and is part of the production? Is he hanging out only with supervisors and people of finance departments? So basically, is Tim Miller personable, and do we all know him? Yeah, he's very much alive and part of the company and is one of the guys. He's probably one of the awesomest owners you're going to meet. Very hands-on, knows everybody, and it's not like an exclusive group. You can go up and talk to him, ask him any question. He's fantastic, along with his wife, and really, you know, most of the team, or all of the team there. I don't mean to say that. No. Yeah, he is fantastic. Awesome guy to work for. By the way, you talk about blurs, it feels like a place that people easily identify with. What makes people feel this way? Is it the fact that everyone there is a name, not a number, like other big studios such as MPC? Do you believe there are many places with the same value out there based on your current and past experience? Okay, so public service announcement. I've never worked at MPC. I know nothing about what working at MPC is like. I know they've got some bad press lately, supposedly, but I in no way have any opinion on what it's like to work at Blur, or at MPC. I do know what it's like to work at Blur and other places that I've been, and while, yes, certainly Blur is, you know, one studio that's like that, and it is a close-knit group, and some of that comes with the fact that, you know, you've got a lot of people that have been there many years, you know, 14, 17, 18 years, mixed in with guys that have been there 1 year, 2 years, and, you know, there's a lot of kind of different things going on, and it makes for, you know, a good vibe. I've been other places where that was, you know, also the same. The place I worked, Speed Shape, you know, at one point we used to always say, you know, there was nobody there that I wouldn't invite over for dinner. Everybody was awesome. It was really a team environment, and that's been other places. I've been unfortunate to work at some places where that was not the case. You'd be walking from your car in the parking garage, and you would see somebody that you work with, and they would just ignore you, and you would both walk into the office at the same time, but they said nothing to you the entire time. Super weird. And that's one place, but you know, I think there are still places like Blur out there, and you know what makes Blur so fantastic is it's like garage shop mentality for the most part, and they've really tried to keep that going, even though they've gotten a lot bigger than they used to be. Is it always successful? No, but it still is the idea that permeates through it. I think you can find that same type of mentality in a lot of smaller studios. The big studios, they have big budgets and, you know, big companies to work for and big directors and all these other big things. So you can't expect that you're going to get that same level of personability, perhaps, you know, out of a studio like that. So hopefully that answers the question. But not to say that, you know, big studios are bad places to work. NPC does great work. ILM does great work. I have not had the pleasure to work at either of those studios, but you know, I can't really say, you know, one way or the other as far as what would it be like to be there. So since many artists work at Blur are famous for personal work and big names in the industry, does Blur have a typical team structure? Do you have juniors and mid-weight artists or just top guns that would take big chunks of work and work independently? How does this reflect on environment workload breakdowns? Is it one environment per one artist, or do you work in teams? Wow. Okay, so let's see. So typical teams. There's always teams, and it kind of depends the job, and it depends the scope. So on something like Halo, right, we had lots of environments to build for that particular job. And so as such, there were lots of artists, each working on different environments, and then that was kind of doled out to a smaller team to kind of pick it up, put all of the characters in, all of the effects in, and take that through to the finish line, and then do compositing and things like that. So at any point, somebody can be picking up your environment that you built and going off with it. Kind of how things are doled out, you know, like most studios, there's CG supervisors, then there are leads, then there are artists, and leads generally create the environment and structure it, and then from there that goes out to what we call scene assemblers, but it's, you know, just artists. And those guys put it all together, and they're responsible for putting together the characters, bringing in sometimes effects, and sometimes comping effects, sometimes not. Sometimes effects comps its own effects. Did that make sense? Yes. So it's kind of, it can change based on the job, but yeah, a lot of the times one guy authors an environment and then, or starts it, and then other people kind of pick it up and do little finishing touches per shot. 'Cause we don't know often when we're building the environment what the camera is going to be. It hasn't been completely finalized. We might have an idea, but we don't know for sure what's going to go on. So I think that's all the questions. Oh, answers team then. Yeah, that's all the questions. Okay, and we've got nothing else. I spot a shark, yes. No other questions, no other relevant questions, Jerry. So, that being said, I'm going to get rid of my talking head. Go away, talking head. Alright. Allow me to clear my throat. Alright. So, when we last left off, I was working on some sculpting and the tree, getting things in order. Between the time that we last left off and I've started again, that was a legit question. Yeah. I have done one thing that you're going to see me do a whole lot more of, so I kind of, I just didn't want to completely bore you. So what I did, get over here, was I started to group out all of my branches and whatnot, and I'm not done, so you'll see my workflow for this. But, you know, there's lots of them, so there's really no reason kind of let you watch me do every single one. I mean, granted, yeah, I don't know, I don't really see the point, so I just did a couple of them before I started. So I'm gonna do some more, and you'll see what this workflow is. The reason why I'm doing this is that I'm going to UV by polygroups when I'm done with this, and each one of these branches is going to be unwrapped automatically by Zbrush, and it's going to do a bang-up job at that. So the easiest way to do that is to, you know, piece things up into groups. I am right now at my lowest subdivision level, so I was sculpting up at 6 million, and I can do this right now and I can continue to work. I'm not saying that I'm done sculpting, but I do want to start thinking about how I'm going to break this up, how I'm going to get it out, UVing it, and sending it back to Max. So, that being said, I'm going to get down to it. Okay, so the workflow here is pretty simple. So actually, if you're not familiar, Control Shift to draw out the marquee for hiding, okay? And then if you go into visibility, or not, we don't actually need to go there because there's a shortcut for this. I'm just going to go to polygroups. What I'm going to do is grow, and the shortcut is Control Shift X, right? And so now I'm going to Control Shift X, and sometimes you can do this rather quickly. Other times you're going to see like Zbrush start to get mad at you. So kind of watch it. If you get the little icon, like the waiting icon, that means you've pissed it off. So I'm going to say group visible, and then Control Shift and click, and that'll unhide everything. And now you see that that is a group. And then if I Control Shift click on my group, the large mass, I can come in here again, marquee, and Control Shift X, keep hitting it, just growing that group. Go group go. Alright, and that should be good. And then group visible, Control Shift, click again to unhide everything. So now I've got those arms, Control Shift, hide everything. And we can start to get some roots. Now these guys are going to be like a tangled mess. They will involve probably a little bit more patience. Let's see, let's start low. And some of these guys are like behind things, and I don't totally care about them. But you know, I want to make sure I get the major players here. So let's X, and it'll grow both directions. So even if you don't get, you know, the little tip up there. Get rid of that little knobby guy. And group visible. Marquee. Yes. It's like, what? Oh, yes. Alright, and X, grow. And you see, like, that little icon there? I pissed it off. Saying, don't go too fast or I will crash your shit. I will end your day. And I generally just kind of go up to the point where, you know, I'm starting to get on the tree. And it's not an exact science because I'm going to kind of overlap some and others, and that'll be fine. And I just keep hiding the ones that I already did, so I kind of know what I've done. Let's get this, and then get rid of that. I'm just going to grow this. I'm going to get some stuff that I don't necessarily want, and I'll just get rid of it after the fact. Fun. And Alt to get rid of stuff. Control Shift Alt. That is. I don't know. I'm going to leave that in there. I don't know what that. Oh, serious. That undo, really. That put it over the edge. I'll just leave that there. Alright, group visible. And even something like this, you can kind of come in and group like a larger chunk, like this. Oops. X. And tick it off. Alright, I think I've gotten all the way to where I wanted to be. That's fine. Group visible. And then I can come in and yet again like isolate just this one guy. Oh, did I somehow break this guy? I think I might have. Let's just isolate this. Interesting. Why did you make a sub? Sometimes it just seems to want to do that. Wants to like mess with you. Yeah, that's the roots. Thank you. Yep, okay. Whatever. Delete. Okay. Yeah, I didn't do anything any different there. Just decided to copy that guy. You know what? I think I hit Shift X or Control Shift D instead of X. That's what I did. It wasn't ZBrush and Ghost in the Machine. It was operator stupidity. Alright, and polygroups. Group visible. Alright. It's kind of a rat's nest. I'll just delete those guys when I'm done. All of this stuff is going to be behind some rock, so don't really care about it. But I still wanted to have UVs. Well, I'm going to make a broader stroke than that. Damn it. I just did it again. For some reason, I really want to hit that D. Delete. All right. X. And don't tick it off. And, you know, none of it needs to be a totally perfect science at this point. It's just kind of getting this all starting to be something. And you can see it takes a couple of minutes, but it is going to be better than trying to UV this thing in Max or something like that, which just isn't going to go well, I reckon. Really, at this point, I'm just going to kind of isolate my guys here. Because this is, you know, this is important stuff here. I want this to UV. Oh, man. Just Control D. I want to make lots of copies, apparently. Yes. Yes. Alright, Control X. And you can see I'm kind of going into some of my other branches and whatnot. And I can just get rid of some of that. A little bit of it is going to be okay. I want to make sure I'm covered, you know. Alright, and polygroups, group visible, thank you. Spacebar, accidentally for the transpose. No, thank you. And I cleared my mask. Nope. Flip you for real. And I don't know. Sure. This guy's a little kind of, I don't know. I want to start down lower so I can bridge that transition a little bit better. And you can do, there's the cavity thing and whatnot. There's other kind of automatic unwrapping tools, but they're not going to, for something like this, like a tree, where we're going to be laying out UVs on branches and whatnot. They're not really going to give you the same amount of control, and they're going to be all rotated and whatnot, and what you think looks tedious right now, going back and cleaning those guys up is really going to suck. So a little bit of this is, you know, you kind of got to pick your battles where you want to have your battles. Just getting rid of some of this. It's okay if a little bit of it is there. And this will probably unwrap just fine. I know it looks like a lump of crap, but it's probably going to be fine. Oops. Polygroups. Where'd you go? There you are. Group visible. So now we're getting down to some points where it's like we've, oops. Nope. Nope. Where we're getting down to some like islands of things. Okay, so let's see. We have a question. What age was I when I got into the industry? So I guess like 20, 26, 24, something like that. I did architecture previous, and then music. I originally went to school for percussion performance, and then went to school for architecture and was doing ArcViz and stuff like that, and then from there got into you know, this type of stuff. But right now you're 22, your last year of university, and feel intimidated. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like expectation that I think a lot of people put on themselves, like, you know, I want to go work at Blur like now, and you know, while that's great, I hope you do, you know, it's not necessarily reasonable to set such high expectations initially. And really, you know, working in really small studios and learning a lot of different things is probably the best thing you can do for yourself right now. If you go to a big studio, I know everybody wants to work at, you know, the big studio. They want to work at ILM. They want to work at, you know, Blur or Blizzard or whatever place it might be. And you'll learn some stuff, but a lot of the skills that you get when you're out on your own and you really have to like depend on yourself, it's very different. So, and those aren't things that you get taught at these major studios. You learn kind of their pipeline, their way of working. But everybody works different, and learning one person's way is not going to, in the long run, benefit you at any level. So I would say, you know, as far as like finding a way in, find a cool studio, cool little studio around you, or it doesn't even have to be cool. You know, I don't know. I feel like I hear it a lot, like, you know, doing cool work or whatever. And cool work's great, but, you know, you have to understand, like, there's huge teams that go into doing the stuff that we do. It's not like any one of us is like some epic rock star that just like did it all or something like that. You have some level of ownership, and Blur's fantastic, and you know the amount of ownership that they give you. And I would say, you know, that's really the type of place that you want to go to, is someplace small where you have a lot of ownership and responsibility in what you do on a day-to-day basis, because that's what's most important for, you know, getting in and getting kind of beyond your initial you know, degree. Man, this thing is just such a rat's nest. Most work I see from beginners that pop up seem to be compositing. Yeah, I mean, that's one way, is like doing stereo conversion or roto work and stuff like that. There's also, you know, prop modeling, things like that. That's certainly always a possibility. But, you know, I think, like, if you're looking at places that are looking for roto and compositing, you're probably looking at a place that's too big. Like, I'm talking, like, a 12-person studio where, you know, the guys that are working there, they're doing the work. They're doing, like, you know, all the work. And that's the type of place that you're really going to hone some skills and learn what it's like to be accountable for stuff in a completely different way. No. It's like, sometimes the colors are so similar. Like, just put two groups there. You cheeky monkey. Alright, now we're getting down to the point where it's like, I can just kind of whoop. And group. And we'll see, I'll probably UV this, or unwrap it, like, a couple of times. Just so I know kind of what I'm getting into. And this little guy that's kind of hiding out over here. So if we, what is he on the back side there? Ah, okay. So I can just grab this guy and yeah, right now I'm leading just a group of 3 people for our final. Feel like I learned a lot more working than in a huge group. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Wrong. Don't be pissed. There we go. Alright, and just grow this until I get those guys. And group visible. Oops. Can this dude read the Twitch chat? Yes, I can. Or is he streaming somewhere else? Oh, okay. Yes, I can. I don't know. Hello. I don't know what the V is. I'm not good with emojis or whatever that stuff is. Alright, so I'm going to leave that the way it is at the moment. and kind of go from there. All right, very important step. Save as, and we are class 7. Saving. F to frame it back up. Okay, so now I've got some poly groups, and what's nice is that when I step up in my subdivision levels, they're still going to be there. It's going to subdivide. Okay, sweet. You must mean, yes, that's a smiley with an alligator mouth. It's used to express hunger. Oh. I like the tree. Yes. Thank you. I didn't know this for hunger. I'll have to use that one at work and see how it goes. If anybody else knows that one. Alright. So my polygroups are retained, which will mean that when I go to UV this guy, that will all be retained as well. Alright, so now I can continue sculpting, and I can keep adding some details and groups and whatnot, and when I UV, all should be relatively happy. So, that being said, I'll grab my tablet. Clay tubes. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of things here. I think I talked about it last time. You know, this weekend I did want to do a session. I'm sorry, I didn't end up getting around to it. I actually went out for a bike ride and totally killed myself and was pretty much thrashed all of Sunday, which was when I was going to stream. So you can blame my biking habit for my lack of streaming. Oh, I think I have auto masking. Nope, mask by polygroup. Why are you not going across the lines? What are you doing? Interesting. Brush. Let's see. So, dude, guy. Do you UV and Retopo and Zbrush, or do you use third-party software? Yeah, I UV. It depends what I'm doing, but yeah, I'll UV in Zbrush or sometimes in Max, and then yeah, certainly a lot of texturing and whatnot. Oh, and I greatly appreciate you taking the time to stream. Use a demo at no charge. Yep, of course, no problem. But yeah, this guy I'm going to end up using UV Master and UVing by polygroups. So why was he being so cattywampus over there? He really doesn't want to paint on this guy. It's telling me no. Well, alright. I'll figure out what's going on. We will get to the bottom of this. Alright. And I'm gonna add like knots. Actually makes sense. This portfolio, I believe, needs film quality detail. Okay, thank you very much. Not sure Chad knows Maya. No, I don't really use Maya. I mean, I have in the past. I don't really care to use it. Alright, so some of what I wanted to do here is back on this side. I don't really want to like neglect this, although, you know, like I talked about, I'm not really going to be seeing it in the camera per se, but so that's kind of what I wanted to look at this point. I'm gonna stick a face like over here, and I think I might put an arm. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know, part of me kind of likes this guy and his, like, this is kind of the arm coming down a little bit, and this is like his other arm. He's like the entire branch. These guys aren't as like integrated as this guy, which I'm kind of back and forth on whether or not I like that or not. So that's kind of what I'm thinking at the moment. It's just a matter of, you know, taste and what ultimately I think is going to be coolest. Never use Max. Course teachers use Maya. Yeah, I mean they're just tools. I don't really care one over the other, and you know, it's all software has its issues. Really, the only thing I ever get annoyed by are people who are like diehard one or the other. Those are the people you should be worried about. Anybody that's like you know, advocating one thing so highly above something else, all that tells me is you don't actually know what you're talking about. Ooh! And these little things will work out well once we like put bark on it and stuff like that. That's one of the things, like the clay tubes on a tree, I think works well. It's like you have these like little chipped areas and then put bark, and that turns out for nice, cool little things. Yep, Moto's pretty neat looking. If there was more hours in the day, I would certainly play with that one. But as it is, Houdini pretty much takes up all my time. Screw Maya by the kids. These kids. What? Not sure what that means. I have no guidance. I'm unorganized in everything. I do the same. Goes for software. I just use what benefits. Yeah. Yep. I know a lot of really effective guys that work that way. They really have like no allegiance, and they also have really no like consistent workflow, and it works for them, and that's great. Certain guys, like, you need consistency, and you need a process. Other guys will just, like, they thrive on not having a process, not having a workflow, and they in fact do better. Like, they'll do amazing fucking work. Foundry people come to our school for Moto master classes. That's cool. Oh, those Foundry guys. Oh, I totally fucked up his face. it'll be alright. Gives him character. He's got a scar. Chicks dig scars. He just doesn't know that yet. Alright, let's bring this around and out. Yeah, if you guys have not seen, I forgot to mention in the beginning, I do post all of these on YouTube. They are available to you to watch in your free time. If I am boring the crap out of you while I'm, while I'm working, would be nice to have a fast forward option, but alas. So you're in California, man. I think Blur is in California. Yes, we are in California, and thus I am in California. We are in Culver City. I'm in the UK avoiding sleep. Yeah. I do that. Alright, let's bring that back and down and around. So ultimately I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to bring down the subdivision levels to something more reasonable to bring into max, and then I'm going to, with my UV'd mesh, create a displacement map that I will use a V-Ray displacement modifier on, and go from there. And that'll be the rendering back inside of max. And the same workflow can hold, true for Maya V-Ray, Max V-Ray, Softimage V-Ray, pretty much any V-Ray app, and from what I've heard, soon to be Houdini V-Ray, which really makes me happy. So this is all, completely cross-platform. I fucked that guy up. Inflate. Get him back. I should have turned on backface. How about use? Oh, I'm going through where we're from. Come on. Okay, so I'm going to go back and grab my clay tubes brush, and I stupidly, because I love to cause issues for myself, turn backface mask on. Very important, especially when you're working on like little shit like this, little roots and whatnot. If you don't turn that on, your stuff is gonna just like go totally nuts, because it's gonna draw through to the back face. And let's get a bigger brush. Maximum carnage. Right, isn't that like from some video game? I feel like it's from some video game. I feel like I need to quote random video games that I actually really know nothing about every once in a while because I'm on Twitch. I don't know why. I think Killer Instinct? Maybe is it Killer Instinct? That's a fun game. Good friend of mine is really good at that game. Was there any reason you didn't paint the mask and grow the selection as opposed to marquee selection, those smaller tangled root pieces? Or is it just a personal preference? I think that's like, really personal preference. You could do it one way or the other. Just, I don't know. I just kind of started working that way, and it's the way I've done it, so I just did it that way again. Yeah. Angry Polyman, do you focus on environment design, or do you anatomical work like creatures and characters. No, I do not do creatures and characters. I do environments and effects. I'm actually currently an effects artist at Blur. I was a environment artist at Blur, but at the moment I'm in the effects department. So you are taking lessons on environments from an effects artist. Oh my god! He must not know what he's talking about. I've been going to New York this week, so I may be snowed in. Oh god, snow. I don't miss that. Really don't miss that. I love the Angry Polyman. That's awesome. Angry Polygon Man. What? What? Abort boys? What? I don't even know what we're talking. Oh, I see. That's the fucking delay. It really. God. Yeah. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Then it dawned on me that a minute ago I made a comment about, you know, the effects artist thing, and it's finally getting through to you. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, ditzy blonde, but then I realized, yeah. I think it's all real time, but it's not. Fuck off. I'm a bit stubborn. I want to do it all, both environments and character, both 2D and 3D, specified field and department, but I don't want to. I would say you don't have to, but you do need to get a good foundation in one or two things, and then, you know, kind of go off from there. That's been my experience. I haven't, like, I've done a lot of compositing. I've done effects, lighting, rendering, you know, doing environments, all that, you know, pretty varied number of things, but I've focused on kind of one at one studio and one at another studio, and then from there kind of branched out a little bit. But, you know, definitely working one to proficiency is pretty important, I think. Do I like that? No, I don't think so. Don't like that. It's gonna be pissed at me, of course. Yeah, don't burn yourself out is definitely huge. And that's pretty easy to do. I'm just undoing what I did. It's still going. I'm getting the sense that Zbrush wants to crash on me. It's giving me the stink eye. Oh, screw you. Look, my Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the interview with Alan. Sorry, somebody commented that they liked the environment, or the interview, not the environment. Thank you. If you haven't watched that, that's on Alan McKay's podcast on iTunes, right? That was fun. He and I, we get going, and for better or worse, we don't shut our mouths when we're supposed to. I don't know. But it makes for a fun talk. You guys are right. I've come so close from frying. months of error and agitation, but yeah, I do stop. But yet, I do not stop. Yeah. Yep. You're not alone. You're not alone. You can come here and be with us. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Zbrush, looking out for me. Just wondering how I keep the reference image on the bottom left. That's with the XSplit, the streaming app that I'm using. So it places it. I can kind of tell it to wherever I want, place images and stuff like that. One of you guys had the excellent suggestion that I should keep the reference up while I was working, so anybody that came in could kind of have an idea of what I was doing, and then you know, it's handy for me as well. I also have it up on my second monitor. It's part of the capturing software. Yep. Yeah, of course, Polygon Man. You guys are my type. Yes. Okay, my book. Good. Thank you very much. You seem to be our type as well. Our not being just me. I'm not multiple personalities here. Yes. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry has posted in the podcast the link to the interview, or not the pod, in the chat, the link to the interview, the podcast with Alan. Much appreciated. All right. Start to get there. So I want this to have some good transitions and stuff, and really kind of make something of those zones, because once I come back into Max, I'm gonna throw some ivy up this area and some little guys on this and all sorts of other little goodies. So the more little spots and nooks and crannies and stuff like that you give it, the cooler stuff you could get. Not good. Undo. Pulling and yanking at this point. Let's come over to this guy because he's going to be out and about in the image. Do you retopo in Zbrush or elsewhere? I don't retopo. Yeah. So this is kind of one of those things where it's I know, a lot of if I were in a video game studio, I'd have to retopo. But at Blur, we don't retopo, and most of the places that I've worked, we don't retopo. The simple reason because V-Ray, it just doesn't give a shit. I think my previous quote was it's like Honey Badger, and it just doesn't give a shit. And you can give it this just janky mesh, and it's going to be totally fine. I will Dynamesh it, so I don't have, or not Dynamesh it, but decimate it, so I don't have tons and tons of polys. But in this one, unless you're an artist, a character artist, yeah. But even then, I mean, yeah, our characters, they have like proper flow and all of that stuff. But most of the time, they're modeling them that way. And yeah, they do. They are rebuilding them though, and then kind of it's like a back and forth process. But yeah, for this, it's not animatable. Well, it is, but it's procedural animation, and if I needed to do anything beyond that, I could do a skinning thing and bones and stuff like that, and it's gonna be fine. But we don't need to, so I don't. And we just don't have time. Like, it's not when you've got like 15 to 30 days to do an environment, depending on what you're doing. Retopologizing is not in the budget for an environment. Yes, basically. It says Blur doesn't give a shit. You hear me? Just make an awesome cinematic cutscene. Yeah, on some level. I mean, it's a lot about quality and craft, and but it's also a lot about get it done in the amount of time we've been given, meeting that expectation, and whatever we can do to meet that expectation in the fastest amount of time is what we're gonna do. But yeah, I mean, the guys are fucking masters of the craft. So and with that comes, knowing what corners to cut and what corners not to cut. Ooh, it's getting some gnarly stretching there. So this is where, I'm kind of, I've pushed my topology there a little too far. And thinking about it, I might have gotten out of Dynamesh a little too quick, but I'm rambunctious, so I went ahead. What's the longest I've stayed working on a crunch? What do you mean? How many days? Like, what do you mean? Halo 2 cutscenes for the Master Chief. They were absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. That was a fun project to work on. So that one I did environments on that. Basically, if it had trees and plants and nature in it, I worked on it. I can't think of one I didn't do. But yeah, that was like my shtick on that project. All the outdoor environments, and then 2 indoor ones, and then 1 like big frickin' gas field thing. Yes. Hours. Well, yeah, more than 24. Days. I generally try to avoid that, but it has happened. Yes, they were. Those are go-to guys for cinematics. Except Chad's environments. Thanks. Thank you very much, Adam. Are you not hearing me? If there's a problem with audio, yeah, let me know. What's going on with that branch? This branch is being such a prick. Let me reload. Okay. Alright, that's starting to be what I want. save. Yes, I do want to replace. Do I want to put a head back here? I don't know. Maybe over here would be better. I kind of think like, yeah, one here, because this makes it feel more like an arm. These are like two guys, then there's this guy, then there's the dude over here. Yeah, I think that'll be better. The Mass Effect one. I didn't work on that one. Yes, but I do likewise like it. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to put a head over here. But first, this guy's being a little bit of a hole. So I'm just going to close. So you liking Los Angeles? Is it a nice place? Yes. I freaking love Los Angeles. I'm kind of like a weird mutt where it's like I really like big cities, but I also like tons of nature. And LA is one of the places that really gives that to you. You've got you know, lots of awesome places for mountain biking and hiking and all of that, and then you want to go out to an awesome restaurant in the same day after going and, you know, mountain biking 60 miles. You can do that here, and that's just fucking sweet. So yeah, I like it. And then, you know, where else are you going to get all of these, you know, badass studios all in one, under one roof, basically? So yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay. If you guys want to know, yes, those are the environments I worked on. Well, it's not all of them, but it's some of them. Eventually, when I do get around to it, I'm going to do some breakdowns of them. T would help, Chad. F. Alright. And first things first, get rid of that lying bastard shader. Alright. I went to LA last year. I may need to give it a second look. Though maybe I got unlucky. Only if rent didn't cost it. Yes, rent is ungodly. But you know, you pay for what you get, and you get a lot here, I think. It'd be one thing if it were super expensive, but you know, but a shitty place to live. But that's not the case. All right, I just want to turn some of these guys on so I know what I'm looking at here. And let's turn this guy on too. Alright. Am I missing a rock? Looks like it. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. So in that context, it's looking better. So I'm missing some stuff there. Well, Northeast, Boston, yeah. Boston, I really enjoyed living in Boston. It's fucking cold. I don't know that I'd go back. Well, there's not a lot of VFX studios. It's not like they're beating down the doors. All right, load brush, and I believe it was class 6 that I made my head brush. And head insert brush, yes. All right, so I made this brush back in class 6. So if you haven't seen how to make your own insert brushes, then go back and check that out. Prices in Cali to Florida? Well, yeah. I mean, but it's Florida. It's Florida. That's all I've got to say about Florida. Wait, what? Multiple subdivision levels. Oh, fuck. Chad, you done fucked yourself. So, the putting in the faces, all that stuff, that was all with the Dynamesh, and I should have thought about this earlier. If at this point, if I want to do that, I need to Dynamesh my guy again, and I'm going to lose a lot of resolution here. That, you know, I'm at 6.9 million. I'm going to jump back down to about what was it, 500,000 or something like that, and then have to bring that back up. If you make small details on Zbrush and make it painting displacement maps, yeah, I'll kind of do some of that, the painting of displacement maps, but do increase with displacement. Yeah, render times do increase with displacement, but if you use them sparingly and intelligently, it's just not that bad. We use them quite a bit on characters and things like that, and if you know what you're doing with them, it's not that bad. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to put a head in, because I'm just not. Wah, wah. I should have planned better. This is the problem with, like, personal work. You know, you're like, yeah. Well, it's also, I need to better pace myself in this. I have, like, every time I start, I've got, like, an agenda of things I want to hit. And when I'm not hitting it, it bugs me. And then I start skipping stuff. What are you doing here? What is your problem with this face? You are being a royal a-hole. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out why it won't paint on this piece. Is it this brush? Are you somehow mad at that brush? No. Bigger size? Weird. It'll paint there. Alright, let's see if it's something to do with my groups. No, because it'll... Weird. What in the fuck? This is new. It just, like, does not want to let me sculpt right there. And it's not on a brush or in a group or isolated. It'll let me sculpt part of the group, but not in other parts. It'll let me even sculpt on this side of it, but not on the other side. That's super peculiar. Let me just group visible. I just want to see. So at this point, everything should be all the same. Yep. Yeah, and no. Weird. This is super weird. I'm not running into this. Okay. What could you be? What advancement in Star7 would you most hard surface? Would you do most of your hard surface modeling in ZBrush now? I would like to, actually. Yeah, I freaking hate modeling. So, and I like ZBrush, so it's definitely very tempting to develop a workflow like that. I generally get like into ZBrush as quickly as I possibly can. So, yes is the answer to that. Wholeheartedly, yes. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Okay, what is your fucking malfunction? Look at this. It's like, you can brush there, but nowhere else. I have a mask selected. What? Shut up. Must have been like some like 10% mask. Wow, that's cheeky. Alright. It's giving me love now, so that's all I care about. ZBrush, you are my bitch lover. Going masking tab clear, it might work now. Yeah. The control left click clears your mask. It's weird because I hadn't. It's not showing up. Normally it would be like grayed and whatnot. So that was what was odd. And then it wasn't lining up with any like polygroups or anything like that I'd been making. You would think that, you know, I'd be kind of getting one specific to a polygroup. That was at least my expectation. But yeah, super weird. Every once in a while. So many little menus and dialogues. And you'll notice, like, I don't open half this shit. Because I don't know what half the shit does. And that's, you know, we were talking about all these different softwares and stuff like that. You know, learning this or learning that. And I really, you know, I generally try to learn what I need to learn to do what I need to do. And beyond that, I try not to get too caught up in like every single little dialogue and detail of an application, because it's just too much. Like you can't possibly keep up with all of it, or at least I can't, and then get my work done and you know, have a life. You know, what little we do have. Yeah, normally I've got show mask turned on. It is funny. We're just talking about hotkey doesn't work and it manually click by button. Yep. Yeah, I just feel like normally I've got that turned on. It's such a rare thing to not have on. So this, I'm just trying to smooth out some of these details. I want detail, but I'm not gonna like displace everything up here and all this craziness. Because most of this stuff isn't even going to be in the shot, so it's not super important. Alright, let's get these guys' faces. You have folio page. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Let's see it, Emperor of Cheese. I like to know where like everybody comes from and backgrounds and stuff like that. It's always really fascinating to me. Your Emperor of Cheese makes me think of Primus sailing the seas of cheese. Giving him like a little bit of a jaw structure, cheekbone, some higher cheekbones. I'm in LA, I'm used to these things. I'm working on simply a link sometime. Means when people ask about my 10 personal projects. What? Oh, I hesitate a lot when I come. Yeah, there's no reason to. So, the Emperor of Cheese is saying he hesitates with his own work. I think, like, you know, it's easy for us to all like criticize and stuff, but it's just the simple act of like actually creating and doing is, you know, it can be immobilizing, I think, if you let it be, and it's important not to let it be. My potato work. So that's Jerry posting his work in the feed. So if you're just watching these on YouTube, that's cool, and I appreciate it, and I hope you're getting a lot from it. But if you care to swing by and participate, that is awesome as well. I like to get to know you guys and get a sense of you and what you're interested in, and it does matter to me, and I will, try to craft things based on what you guys are into. So, this is just month 1, and there will be more. So if you are watching this on YouTube and you haven't come by, and there's a time that does work for you, I've tried to do multiples. There is a Friday morning, 6 a.m. my time, so that is 9 a.m. Eastern time. That my hope is that some of you East Coasters or other parts of the world that 8:30 is not convenient for. I don't want to just say East Coasters. Because that's narrowing a very big group, a very small group. So let's see, Polygon Guy, do you do portfolio reviews? Yeah, man, certainly. That's kind of the point. I'm sorry, I started this session out really I think off kilter. I was messing with something, but yeah, that's the off topic questions and stuff at the beginning and the end. I'm happy to look at your work and help you in any way I possibly can. So please, show what you got, and show the community and everybody else here, what you're working on. I think you will find that everybody is pretty receptive and respectful, and anybody that is not respectful and receptive will be immediately fucking banned. I'm not about putting other people down to make myself feel better. So I love to look at other people's work, and I love to help them out. So if you've got something that you'd like to show, please do. That can be at the beginning, at the end. At some point I could do a strictly just portfolio review as well. I've been thinking about that, how much time in a day, basically. But yes is the answer. That is my long-winded answer to that question. All right, so yes, thanks. You're welcome. Don't worry, beat me down, criticism. It's not, I'm forever a student, I must learn. Yeah, but it's not constructive, per se, to just, beat people down. I went, I think I mentioned I went to school for architecture, and, that's definitely an environment where they feel like they need to beat you down. And, prior to that, I went to school for music, and that also can be an environment where they feel like they want to beat you down. I'm sure most of you have seen Whiplash, and fortunately for me, I did not have. My experience was not really like that, but I had friends that had pretty similar environments to that, and that shit is toxic. Yes, I get it. The making the awesome pupil or individual, and I don't know, to me that those sentiments were half right. I really enjoyed the movie, and it's awesome, but at any rate, the point is the beating down, and I don't think it's constructive most of the time. There might be a couple rare students, but most of the time it's not. At this point, I'm just looking to transition. I'm not trying to sculpt every little piece of that tree, of this tree. It's more kind of getting up the branches far enough where it'll be you're not going to notice that suddenly the sculpting kind of falls off. Again, it's the doing the work that you need to do and not the work you don't need to do. Alright, so let's turn some guys on. See where we're at. Make sure I haven't moved anything. beyond where it's supposed to be. Might want some like little naughty guys and stuff like that. That's always something that I like to just like, you know, it's hard to like get a tree application to put these like little nodules and stuff like that that trees get on them into it, but in ZBrush that shit's real easy. So Emperor of Cheese to my rant says, true, I mean to say when something is terrible, I will call it terrible, but of course follow by actually giving criticism and pointers to help them improve. I also do not like to hurt others, but one must also harden up and understand that it may be harsh, but others will, and many art students have been given up because of it. Yeah. Okay, fine. Walrus today, do you have any idea how much I hurt seeing you like this? Yes, I mean, you do need to learn to take criticism, but I think that learning to take criticism is also something that like people that are secure in their work do better than people who are insecure in their work do, and some of that comes with just, you know, legitimately having acquired a skill set, and it's part of like developing as an artist, taking criticism, and there's like a time and a place for it. I think a lot of the times, you know, people want to toughen somebody up maybe a little too early in the process. So I guess that's really what I'm saying is, you know, we're always, believe me, even at Blur, we all work on taking criticism, whether it be from our colleagues or from the client. That is, you know, it's the artist's curse, but you kind of get used to it, and, you know, like I said, the more secure you are in the work that you're doing, even when the criticism is very harsh, the more you just kind of soak it up and let it go and move on. And that's important. You know, you hear it, but don't be broken by it. Oh, here we go again about me, I just care. What? Not sure what that one means. So this shit's not good, and it's gonna be easier to just kind of give it a little something. I will also tweak these branches. Like, I can see that when I did them in Grow Effects, you know, my branches are just too thick. So I will make that adjustment on the other side. What kind of music do you listen to while you work? Oh. Let's see. Sometimes The Knife, and sometimes like 9 Inch Nails, and sometimes classical. Kind of depends the mood I'm in, and also like how much I'm trying to get done. You know, we all have like the jam or whatever that, like, you know, we kind of work to, but and that can be, yeah, it kind of depends the project. I don't know. Yeah, I change music based on projects and stuff. So I understand what you mean, Polygon Man. It's about balancing between criticism and not coming out like a total rude ultimate douche. Yes, that is this is very true. Ultimate douche equals bad. Okay, and the more art that you create, the less attached to any one piece you are. Yeah, for fucking certain. That's why, you know, it's always important just to be like creating and creating, I think. You make an interesting point. Yes, that is a very good point. I like that point. Alright. Okay. So... Well, God damn it. I keep just like seeing things that's like gonna bother me if I don't hit it even just a little bit. I don't know why. Just took that somewhere it didn't need to go. Just a couple little things. Okay guys, it's 1 a.m. and I'm hitting the sack. Hopefully your stream soon. Man, it's great seeing a streamer actually in the big league of VFX. Thank you very much. I'll be here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So come on by again. I enjoyed the chat and talk soon. Alright, getting close. Getting very, very close. Alright. This is probably going to be enough. But really the true test, you know, as I've talked about, is, you know, going back into Max and rendering it and seeing what we got. Have a good night, Dave. So, what time is it? Okay, 10. Alright, so I'm going to save. And I don't want to save in class 6, so I'm going to save in class 7. And we're going to skip 13 and go right to 14, because when it comes to Zbrush, I am superstitious. Alright. So now we've got our, we've got some polygroups. And let's view them. And they are beautiful. They are awesome polygroups. Shit. It's going slow. And just turn off everything but the tree. Alright, so I'm going to try and see what Zbrush does for me here. And this might crash. I love my square branches there, FYI. I should probably smooth those out, but I kind of think I'm not going to see them. In fact, I'm pretty certain that I'm not, so I don't really care. Again, you know, it's about doing work where you need it. So... let's just get rid of this guy, and this guy, and this guy. And bring you over here. Oh, come on. Be nice. Thank you. Alright. So, UV Master, and so normally you'll have this, like, or not normally, depending, you know, you might have watched some videos where somebody's using the ambient occlusion to make UVs by. So this would be the control painting. I want to do by polygroups, and I want to unwrap. And the function requires that you be at the lowest subdivision level. Okay, yes, I did know that. Alright, so going back down and unwrap. Oh shit. Oh no! Oh, stupid Chad. How long are you working on this piece? He works 3 times a week during the stream. It's week 3, I believe. Yes, this is week 3. Yeah, like 2-ish hours. Well, 2 to 2.5 hours Monday and Wednesday, and then 1 hour on Fridays. So, yeah. I think at this point I would call this, about 2 days time. If I were at work, this would be about, I don't know, I'd be going on my 2nd day of work. Symmetry, yes. Fucking A. I can't believe I did that. Yeah, and this is when you stand up from your desk and you go get a cup of coffee because you just royally screwed up. Yeah, thank you. I just pissed it off. Take that. When you're unwrapping, if you do like anything, it will totally get angry. I'm here because I saw the post on 3D Total. Awesome. That's good. Now I kind of want to download all the videos you made. Download them or watch them on YouTube? Which ones? Come on. Yeah, definitely, if this is your... Yeah, no shit. If this is your first time, go and... I should really make that my default. Go and check out the YouTube videos, the Angry Poly ones. I was joking about how there needs to be digital tutor series on how to make ZBrush not crash. It's not possible. There is no such thing as not making ZBrush crash. I mean, I think it's implicit in what we're trying to do with it, though. You know, they're always like teetering on insanity most of the time. Yeah, I don't mind if you download them off of YouTube. I think I set them so you can, right? I am correct in that. All right. Get rid of the screwball shader. So anybody who's new, if you have just come into this, you know, the chats are live. I can see you. I can see you. I can see what you're typing and you know, talk back to you and whatnot. And I encourage you to interact, engage, and ask questions strongly. That's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to do this type of course as opposed to you know, the normal pre-recorded content. You know, one of the other things I really like about this format is it gives you a different sense of like how I work and how, I don't know, guys like me or something, how we work in a production context, and that, you know, shit doesn't go right all the time, and that's okay. Oftentimes, if you download or you watch like digital tutors or something like that, it's everything seems to go right, and you know, that's because that person specifically worked it out beforehand so that it would go right, so that they could show you this specific skill. But we work in a realm where nothing generally goes right for us, and you spend most of your day trying to fix shit. Oh, god damn it. You'd think I would learn from my previous indiscretions against ZBrush. Okay, so very important. Unwrap, not unwrap all. Unwrap all will unwrap all of your subtools. Hence, all of my rocks, all of this shit, which I don't want. I just want to unwrap this guy. And it is going to take a minute. So, at this point, if I touch it, or if I do anything, it will crash. Even if I look at it wrong, it will crash. So, question in the chat window, is it necessary to be amazing at drawing to get into VFX? Absolutely not. Does it help? Certainly. But it's not a prerequisite. There are so many different positions and talents that you know, are required of a VFX artist, and that's no. No, it's not. It does help, and if you want to be of a, you know, there are certain positions where it's more, I guess, that skill set is more valued or interesting, but it's not to say that you can't be very successful with without being able to, you know, draw amazingly. I don't draw amazingly. Not by a long shot. I have friends that draw, like, just wicked fucking good. Wicked. But I don't. I enjoy it. I like it. But you would laugh at my sketches. Am I trying to recreate the image in the corner? Of sorts. It's, not a carbon copy, but I like some of the ideas of it, and I like the idea of the tree and the way it kind of, the look of it, that it's more of a character than just specifically a tree. But there's some like midground and background elements that I'll be changing, and some foreground stuff as well. It's more kind of, it's an idea of something. But I liked the tree. That was really the biggest thing. And Zbrush is still going, so we're waiting. And hopefully it behaves through this process. And, you know, don't touch it, don't look at it, else it will get mega pissed. Mega So it's going and going. More questions? We can just do questions now while this is cooking, if you guys have anything else. I like this. Keep it up. People who are new here, are you enjoying it? Is this, you know, is it cool? Am I covering good stuff? Is there something you would like to see? Comments? Feedbacks? Feedbacks? Feedback is not plural. Concerns? Topics? Anything? Bueller? Q&A time, boys. And ladies. Nothing. It's easier for me when, you know, if I kind of know what you guys are, what you're looking for. You know, this first one, I just kind of picked up something that I kind of thought would be fun. All right, here we go. Thoughts on being a digital gypsy? Oh, wow. Well, I think, like, the digital gypsy thing, that's kind of... I assume you're referring to, you know, our industry and moving around and all of that. I'm going to go with that. That's what the question is pertaining to. So, I think, you know, at different times in our lives, that stuff is... that can be great. There was certainly, when I was younger, a time when I would have, you know, welcomed that. As you get older and you have families and stuff like that, well, that becomes a little bit more difficult, and it's, you know, how do we have a place for both of these realities in our profession without, you know, kind of ostracizing the one. So I think it can be good, and I think, you know, if you're of that mindset, that's great. But it can also be very difficult for, you know, some of the older guys, or not that they're older, but, you know, vets, or even not even vets, just people with families. That can be very difficult. And that's, you know, I was kind of talking about before, you know, there are a lot of studios out there, and you know, everybody wants to work for, like, the big guy. You know, they all want to work for Blur or Blizzard or ILM or whatever, and that's great, but there are tons of other studios that you can go to work at that, oh, god damn it, I probably just crashed Zbrush, you know, you won't have to be a digital gypsy and move around. So, there becomes, like, I think, a bit of a give and take that you've got to respect and be willing to give up. Maybe you're not going to work on the best stuff, but you're going to have, you know, a normal life. So that's kind of my thought on it, but I think it can be really cool. Still waiting. Is it Angry Baby Panic? So, who's Unsun? Is this somebody who knows me? So anybody that doesn't know, I have 4 kids, so that might be somebody that knows me. I have lots of children. No, I'm just angry at my polygons. I'm an aspiring environment artist, but I'm one of those people who is hung up on studying technique. When working on a project, how do you approach it? Broken into parts? Yeah, I think like it's best to start with one thing and move on. In this case, you know, I'm working on this environment, and the tree is, you know, a hero element. If you haven't watched, you know, the intro videos to this or some of the original ones, like class 1, I think I start with boxes. Like all of this starts from boxes and as simple as it possibly can be. And then I just start working up a scale working up a scene from a scale and from an idea, and it's very rough, just gestures with primitives. It doesn't get any simpler. And then just adding small details and adding small details and adding small details, or, you know, medium details and then smaller details and so on and so forth. But yeah, I kind of focus in particular areas and then move away and focus and move away. Honestly, if I were at work, I'd probably, so if this were like day 2 and I'm working on this, I would put this tree down now. And that would be kind of all I did on it for probably another 2 days. And then I'd come back and I'd revisit it again and I'd start working on it again. But in the interim, I'd kind of work on the rocks around it, or maybe some of the other set around that. And it's important not to just like sit and fixate on one thing, or at least for me. Some of it is just knowing how you work. For me specifically, I can't fixate on something, otherwise it just like takes over, and that doesn't go very well. So I have to, like, you know, move around different things. Still fucking going. So that would be my answer to that, I hope. Do you have a tutorial on how to use tool correctly? What tool? I'm not sure what the question is. Do you try a single piece at a time on ZBrush, or do big blockouts then start doing passes? Yeah, kind of bigger blockouts then start doing passes. You know, this I started with the rocks and just laying in some stuff, and then went back to max and then worked on the tree a little bit more. And now I'm back here and then adding some more detail. I'll take it back out and render it if this ever finishes Uving for me. Let's see if it's getting... Let's see if it changes. So yeah, that's kind of what I would do. The chat lags behind the stream about a minute. Oh yeah, so there's the time delay. Sorry if it's just a 2-part question. I didn't want to murder him with a big block. Nope, no problem. I think we initially tested it was about a minute. It is a minute. Chad was telling me he found another workaround. Well, it's not shorter, it's always a minute, but I did get the 2 to kind of line up better. How old am I? Too old. I'm 38. That's a loaded question. I don't mind. I don't know. I'm not like... I'm betting mid-30s. No, high 30s. I just turned 38 this February. So, yeah, I don't mind. I'm how old I am, and I'm okay with that. What program did you use for the Lego architecture animation? I know nothing about animation VFX. Could it be done in something like After Effects? Okay, so he's referring, or she is referring, I'm not sure, to a piece that I did when I was at Pluto. I'm just going to post it in the chat window. Come on. You gotta be patient with ZBrush, but, okay, so, referring to this. So this was 3ds Max and V-Ray, Thinking Particles, and Nuke. And that was, I want to say, a 3-week project, and that involved me, let's see, another guy doing lighting, and then, so I was doing compositing, one other guy part-time compositing, a lighter, and 2 modelers. And then another like TD that kind of worked out the TP system that we used to build all of them, and actually wrote a program that built each of the buildings. So they were actually all of the buildings were fully constructed out of the Legos. We modeled each of the individual Legos, and then our developer actually like made some scripts and tools that, given like these variables, built the building up, and then we actually like TP'd them and unbuilt them, and then reversed all of our simulation stuff. Well, we didn't reverse it, so otherwise your motion blur would be wrong, but we unbuilt it first and then built tools to build it all back together. And a lot of that was just controlled with like splines and controllers, things that we could mess with and animate to get the look that we were going for. So hopefully that answers that question. Oh, and as far as doing it in After Effects, probably not. You could do some aspects of it in After Effects, but the real like meat and potatoes of it, I doubt it. Man, it is chewing on this. I would still say let it go. How necessary are formal qualifications in VFX? I've been working in the 3D visualization for 3 years since I was 16, ArcViz type stuff, but for gardens, great. But I failed my education a bit, so what? Do you think it's reasonably plausible for me to aim for an internship in a studio based on my portfolio and experience in a kind of related industry? Yes, absolutely. Some of the best guys I know have no formal education. Fortunately, you know, in the industry, there's a lot of guys with no formal education, and they don't give a shit about formal education. So you're kind of in the right field, I would say. You will be embraced with open arms. And if you look like, I don't know, let me see if Blur even has a job posting right now. I don't know that we do, but if we did, I'm pretty sure that there's nothing senior producer. Let's even see. I bet our senior producer doesn't say anything about a degree. Yep, and nope, nothing. So you know, that's kind of, that would be like I wouldn't worry about it. Wear a hammer when you need. Just keep positive attitude in the right mood and you'll get hired. Yes. Have you worked on any feature film stuff? Yes, I have. Let's see. I'm working on one right now, or just wrapped on one, and then I also worked on Spider-Man as well. Let's see, where else? How long was the message? What kind of power does your workstation at Blur have? How big is your render farm? My machine at Blur is, what is it, dual Xeon 3.6s with 96 gig of RAM. And our render farm, I think, what are we at? 600 or 800, something like that. But we sleep half the farm most of the time, so it's only like in crunches that we wake the whole thing up. For Halo, we were at our largest, and that was 1,400 nodes. Yeah, that helps. I always know the process, but I can never find how the stuff is done. Yeah, I mean, this is, as far as, you know, Salty Walrus, that is kind of why I'm doing this, and the live stream. This, you can watch, like, go back, this is, you know, video 7, watch video 1 through 6, and you will see, like, exactly what I'm doing. That was what I wanted to show, not like, and today we're going to build a tree and I'm going to skip over some stuff and it's going to work amazingly for me, but you know, you not so much. So sorry. Yeah, I wanted to show everything, you know, very transparent, what I'm doing and how I get stuff done. Should be a ban. I don't know what that's referring to. So I have a question about texturing. I'm pretty solid on the modeling part, and my original background is in painting, but for some reason, wait a minute. Sorry, new things are coming in. When I get my materials, I panic. There are so many ways to do it. Yeah, I mean, certainly. Some people use PSD, some do dedo, endo, substance, etc. They all have a setup with engines for shaders, technical parts. Get me, what is your preferred method? Well, I mean, I would say, you know, yeah, there's the dedo, undo, all that stuff. Learning, like, if that's a weakness for you, just going and learning, like, the basics and just, you know, UV unwrapping and how to do that, even if it's kind of shitty, you know, and I'm going to kind of go over some shitty UV hacks that I do and the way I get things done. Because I'm not, like, a UV master by any stretch of the imagination, and nor do I ever want to be. Not something on my list where it's like, cha-ching, I can UV, like, whatever. I don't give a crap. I want to make cool images. So, it's not really high on my priority to UV really awesome or anything. But I do understand the principles of it, and I can do it enough to get what I need to get done without having a dependency on some other tool and plugin or whatever. In this case, you know, I'm using Zbrush in an epically awesome way. I think it's crashing. And, you know, that's pretty fantastic. But, you know, I can do this without it. It's just going to take me, you know, longer. So, Ddo and Inu, they're fantastic. Substance Painter can do some cool stuff. It's, I think, kind of limited, though, by its resolution at the moment, unless they've changed that, but I have not heard anything like that. So I would say, you know, getting back to the basics, and then, you know, understanding just simple, like, Photoshop stuff. I do, when I have to, if I'm doing, like, a prop or something like that, I do a lot in Photoshop, and just painting maps in there after I've unwrapped something. It doesn't have to be pretty, but most of the time it'll get it done. So that's kind of, I think if you start there and you get a good understanding, then the rest will follow and it won't be any problem. 1400 node, yes. Weta has 35,000. Yeah, I believe it. You would need to put out what they do. Is it worth making high poly in ZBrush, then try to bake it down to use in video game? Would be solo indie group. Yeah, of course. If you're going into a video game, you kind of have to. It's definitely worth it. You know, David L'Esperance, he does a really great video. Let me see if I can pull him up on my Facebook. And, you know, I really want to express here, none of us get where we are in a vacuum, right? I mean, I watch tutorials. I check out what other people are doing. We all do. And so, all right, this guy, if you don't know who he is, like, you should definitely check his work out. Go and like his page. He is very fucking good. And he's got all these videos. He's got all sorts of stuff up on Gumroad. I would highly recommend you watching them. If you're into that, like, retopologizing workflow, here's my chat. He does a great, I don't know if it's on here, but you can go to his Gumroad site and you can see he's got a really great workflow on, like, doing sculpting and then using ZBrush tools to down-res it and get it into, like, in-game stuff. So I highly recommend check his stuff out. He's fantastic. Well, for organic and more so high poly at times goes on. What? Not sure I follow that. I got a ton of idea, but I know I was much more terraforming. Don't know if I'm going for Minecraft-like, such as 7 Days to Die Reign of King, or if I'm going overboard and try to make EverQuest next, like, terraforming possibility. But it's I never really used any of the 3D programs. I'm not sure. That seems like a lot of thoughts. Can you maybe, I don't know, what's the, I'm having a hard time understanding that. Yeah, thank you, Jerry, for posting David's Gumroad site. Yeah, he's, you know, really good. And we all, everybody looks at each other's stuff. Everybody's following. And we all need, like, little tips and tricks from each other. It's really important to do. Sorry for the long post. It's complicated. I understand it's complicated. It's not a big deal. I'm just having a hard time understanding exactly what you're meaning. I think you're saying that you've never used 3D before, but you have this idea for something that you want to do. Is that what you're getting at here? I'm pretty sure I royally pissed off ZBrush, yeah. Sometimes if you just let it wait long enough, I mean, it will come back. And it might be that I just need to let this cook for a while. I've certainly like sent one and come back many hours later, and lo and behold, it worked. So I think I'm going to kind of do that and see what happens. And if that doesn't work, I will let you guys know on Wednesday, and we'll go from there. Come on. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. New documents. Load tool. So I'm going to let it go, and then I'll look at the chat log again. Twitch. Month1 class 7 Zbrush. Alright. T to edit. F to frame. And go away, bad shader. Be gone with you. Nope, wrong one. Tee-hee. Alright. So, polygroups. I've got them. And geometry. Go down 430 million, or 430,000. That should be fine. Zbrush, do it. Yeah, I think it's going to do it. I'm going to let it run, and I really think, I really hope it is actually going to do it. I really, it'll do it. Alright, so Z plugin, buy polygroups, and unwrap. And then I'm going to leave it alone, and it's going to work. Alright, so, sorry for the long post. I go overboard with modeling and skin, animation, etc. Then it's going to be way more time consuming, but way more cooler to the eye. Will it be worth it to scrap down gameplay for better eye candy? So yeah, I mean, that's a good question. There's what's that game that came out? The Order, I think, right? I feel like I was watching somebody on Twitch playing this. The guy next to me was doing this, and he was watching The Order. So it came out recently, and it's beautiful. It's like really great eye candy, but the game is like 4 hours long or some shit, and everybody's laughing about that. And on the one hand, it's cool. It's a technical achievement, and it's awesome. But on the other hand, it's, I don't know, like after you get over it, and then what do you got? So, to me, like, games, and this is me, right? I mean, I'm not a master on this, so this is my opinion. This is not fact. To me, games are about gameplay and less about the eye candy. It's cool when the graphics are nice, but, like, a really good game, to me, just takes me in and sucks me in and, engages me in a way that even if the graphics are great or not so great, they can be beautiful and they don't have to be like stupendously real. That's more important. Like consistent style, I think, is really more important than anything. So that would kind of be my take on that. So I'm going to college into programming. And I already got to the 3D program, died on the other side with the to learn offside. Yeah. What? I know you did a lot better in the top one. I want to know how everything works. Well, I mean that takes time. I love art and I'm fascinated by how everything works. Yes. All right. That's definitely. It's gonna take time, but I think your enthusiasm, that's awesome, and give it time and you'll definitely get there. So you and Alan McKay have started something awesome in regards to mentoring aspiring artists. What inspired you to be so generous with your time? So I mean, I think there's a lot of guys out there that are really generous with their time. Like David, as an example. I just for the record, I don't know this guy personally. I love his work. I'm a big fan. But he charges $5 for these videos. I mean, it's basically nothing. They're almost as free as what I'm doing. So there's other guys out there doing it. I like the interaction, I think, which is why I chose to do this. I like talking and getting to know, you know, other artists in the community, and that was the one thing that doing like a video just doesn't get for me. And I think it's more engaging and more interesting to me. It's kind of, honestly, it's more about like the way I like to teach and the way I like to do things, as opposed to, you know, David, he's got the time that he's got and he's doing what he can do. So I think, like, you know, there's a lot of guys out there giving a lot to the community. And second, if, you know, I mean, I could charge for this stuff, but everybody's just gonna fucking steal it. And I don't know. I don't really... I'm just not gonna support that. So I might as well give it away, and you know, you guys can take from it and make what you want with it, and it's awesome, and we can start a dialogue, and I can learn from it, because when I'm engaging with you guys and teaching with you guys, I am also simultaneously learning, and it keeps me sharp, you know, on my skills. So that's kind of, I guess, my thought. He does not like to sleep. Yes. Well, you plan to have some topics related to cinematic lighting, shading, and look development. Yeah, I can totally do that. And we'll get into that in this. Right now, you know, it's kind of like the beginning. I start with making it, and we're going to light it and shade it. And shading is coming very shortly. I mean, obviously, once I'm done Uving here, we're going to get into Mari, and then we're going to be painting the textures. We're going to be shading it and lighting it. So that's all coming very shortly, and I know, like, that's, for a lot of people, like, that's the fun part, and I'm trying to kind of you know, show both sides in what, you know, we or I do when I'm making something. So yes, I will absolutely get into cinematic lighting, shading, and look development. So yes, and yeah, I am very flexible to show my process. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna let this cook, and I think, like, we can call it at this. I was going to try to show kind of where we've come and where we've gone, but unfortunately Zbrush is a little mad at me. A friend of mine had the idea that at the end of each video I kind of show where we've come from, so you guys kind of have like a context, and if you're watching the video on YouTube or something, you have a better understanding of, like, this is where the class started, this is where the class ended. Obviously this would be the class where we UV'd the tree and you sit and let it cook. So sometimes with these things you just have to be patient, and believe me, nothing is more so like this than fluid sims, which, you know, we'll get into next month, is my hope. So unless there's any more questions, I'm going to call this, and we will get back to it on Wednesday. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I certainly have. And it's great, you know, engaging with you guys, talking with you. That's awesome. It's a good time for me. Hopefully you get something out of it as well. No more questions? All right. Thank you very much. Please go to Angry Polys on Facebook and follow. Likewise, subscribe on the YouTube channel. You'll be updated as I post new videos Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Live streams Monday night at 8:30, Wednesday night 8:30 Pacific time, and then Friday mornings at 6 a.m. Pacific time, or 9 a.m. Eastern, or whatever other crazy time you might be in. With that, thank you, good night or good morning, and have a fantastic day. Alright, I'll be available for a couple of minutes offline to answer any other additional questions.